My name's Pete and today's video is a yardage chart, or more specifically, how far do I hit each one of the clubs in my bag. Now I'm going to try and answer a couple of additional questions today. The first one is for myself. What is it that a scratch golfer does in their yardages or their distances that I'm not currently doing? So I need to identify those areas and address them in order to achieve my goal of reaching a scratch handicap. The second question that I've got is for you guys. Many of you are wondering how far you should hit your clubs in order to reduce your handicap or improve your scores. So, before I come on to answer those questions, let's very quickly run through my bag and I'll tell you how far I hit each of my clubs. Starting at the more lofted end, my putter, I hit that miles. 58 degree, 90 yards. 54 degree, 105 yards. 50 degree, 120 yards. Pitching wedge, 135 yards. 9-iron, 148 yards. 8-iron, 165 yards. 7-iron, 178 yards-ish. 6-iron, around 190. 5-iron, around 200. 4-iron, around 210. 5-wood, about 240 carry distance. 3-wood, about 260 carry distance. Driver, about 280 carry distance. Those are all of the average carry distances for each one of the clubs in my bag. I'm assuming a warm-ish day, anything 10 degrees or above. Below that, I'm cold and the equipment is cold. I'm assuming a premium golf ball, and I'm also assuming that there is no wind either against me or behind me that might influence the carry distances of the ball. That is average on a still day, and the clubs that I would choose based on a yardage that I would shoot with my Bushnell laser. So, let's take a look at these things in a little bit more detail.
What I've written down here are all the differences between each of my clubs. From my 58 degree to my pitching wedge, there is 15 yards between each of the clubs. Pitching wedge to 9-iron, 13 yards. 9-iron to 8-iron, 17 yards. That's a bit of a weird one. 8-iron to 7-iron, 13 yards. 7-iron to 6-iron, 12. Between my 6-iron, 5-iron and 4-iron, I've got 10 yards. So it doesn't surprise me that the overall yardages are going down between clubs as you get into the longer irons. Between the 4-iron and the 5-wood, 30 yards. Between the 5-wood and the 3-wood, 20 yards. And between the 3-wood and the driver, 20 yards. I do have a 2-iron that I swap out the 5-wood. That depends on course conditions and the weather for the day, especially if I'm playing links golf. That I hit 225. When it's in the bag, I have a 35-yard difference between the 2-iron and the 3-wood. I would rather have a little bit of inconsistency in the longer end of the bag when I have such a consistent gapping at the wedge end. I've got 14 clubs in the bag, and obviously that is made up by the additional wedges, so I'm much happier with that setup.
Right, hopefully you're still with me. As you can see from my yardage chart, I'm not giving an awful lot away to a PGA Tour professional in terms of distance. Yet I'm still stuck on a 6 handicap. So what is it that better golfers, scratch golfers, are doing that I'm not doing within those same yardages? So I've identified a number of areas where I think it's most important to look at. Number one is consistency. So when I take a club out of the bag and I know how far I hit that club, how consistently can I hit the ball to that yardage? The second part is accuracy. And when we're talking about distances and distance control, I'm talking about the dispersion long and short of the green. So I'm not worried about left and right, as much as that is important. But in terms of yardage, how accurate is my dispersion long and short of the green? Now, having a more mechanically reliable swing will help me with both my consistency and my accuracy. And that's exactly why I'm going to Dan Whitaker to address those areas of my game. However, that takes me on to the next part of the puzzle. When we're looking at distance control and dispersion long and short of the green, what I think really good golfers are able to do, that I'm absolutely not able to do, is, for example, if there's a pin at 165 yards, I know I can get there with my 8-iron with a full shot, but what if the pin is at 155 yards or 157? Can I reliably take 10 yards or 7 or 8 yards off my full 8-iron shot in order to hit that closer pin? No, not a hope in hell. I could take my 9-iron and try and spank it, but then that's going to introduce inconsistencies and problems of its own. So that's not the answer. So what I need to do is look at each iron in my bag and figure out a 90, 80, 70, 60% and almost have like a sub-yardage chart for each of my irons, as well as the full distances for those irons. And that blends obviously into then distance control with your wedges and a wedge chart within 100 yards, and that's something else I need to work on, and I'll do that in a different video. Now for you guys, the other question that I asked was, how far should you guys be hitting your clubs? Now the answer is, I hate to do this to you, it doesn't matter. If you want to be a long drive champion, then obviously you need to hit it further. If you want to be a PGA Tour professional, then of course you've got to be able to compete with those guys, so yeah, you probably need to hit it further as well. But if you're just looking to improve your handicap or shoot a better score, then genuinely the answer doesn't matter. I think the only time it matters is if you're the sort of person that bogeys a hole every time, and yet you're hitting it down the middle, down the middle, down the middle, onto the green, and the only reason that you're bogeying it is because you just cannot get it there in any fewer shots. That's the only time when a little bit more distance might help. Otherwise, for everyone else, myself included, distance is not the answer. It's nice to be able to hit it a bit further, but other areas of your game are more important. Putting, getting it up and down, out of the bunker, chipping around the fringe, greens in regulation, fairways in regulation, so accuracy and control. Distance control, all of those things, they are all far more important than just simply being able to hit it further. So, hopefully that addresses some of your questions. It certainly has mine. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Please do subscribe. Leave any questions or comments in the section below, and I very much look forward to seeing you in one of my next videos. No, honestly mate, if it was me, I would just smack it as hard as I possibly could. It feels amazing.